So, in just a few days the second half of version 5.8 lands, and if you spend your Primogems the wrong way, you could lock yourself out of the opening weeks of version 6.0. That is not drama, that is math. I am going to walk you through exactly what you are stepping into with these banners, why the community mood is leaning a certain way, and how to decide whether a last-minute pull from Mualani or Chasca is a victory lap or a regret you will carry into Nod-Krai. For anyone who has not been refreshing the notice board, the second phase spotlights two characters, Mualani and Chasca. Both are designed first and foremost as on-field main damage dealers. They are the kind of units that want your rotation to orbit around them. They want a good chunk of field time, and they want supports that feed them buffs, survivability, and elemental triggers so they can cash out big numbers. That is not a criticism. Some of the most satisfying experiences in this game come from locking in with a single carry and letting them sing. The question is not whether they can clear content. They can. The question is whether they are the best place for your very limited currency when version 6.0 is about to introduce new mechanics that reward teams built around Nod-Krai resonance, and when a Sumeru Chronicled Wish is also waiting to tempt you with nostalgia and signature weapons. Before we jump into playstyles, let me share what you all told me. I ran a poll on the channel asking who you are planning to pull in version 5.8 Phase 2. About 10% of you said Chasca, about 10% said Mualani, around 1% bravely declared both, and a rather thunderous 79% voted to skip. That is not a gentle breeze of hesitation, that is a strong headwind. And while polls are not prophecy, they are a reality check. The majority of players are signaling that their Primogems are already earmarked for 6.0, or that their pity situation does not justify gambling right before a region launch. Let us talk about the two stars on their own terms. Mualani is a classic headline carry with a very modern twist. She frontloads a lot of damage into short, punchy windows and loves when your team sets the stage for a single clean burst of power. Think of her as a centerpiece who resistance to interruption, and teammates that paint the enemy with consistent elemental aura so her personal hits land on charged reactions. The feeling when everything lines up is great. She brings that satisfying camera-shaking nuke that makes you want to rewind the clip and watch it again. The cost is that she asks for a fairly curated support pair to really shine, and she prefers rotations that do not constantly yank her off field. If you enjoy big windows and the rhythm of build and cash out, Mualani's style is a joy. Chasca just feels great to play. S-tier mobility in exploration and solid, near top-tier damage in combat. Her power comes from enhanced elemental bullets during Night Soul Burst as long as you run a Nat-Lon teammate, and she scales with team diversity across Pyro, Hydro, Cryo, and Electro. Constellation 1 smooths out her procs and pairs neatly with supports like Xylonin, and she can even self-prime reactions so rotations do not stall. Now the uncomfortable context. Both of these units are peak performers for the region they arrived with, but they are also arriving at the end of a chapter. Once Nod-Krai opens, the design philosophy shifts toward lunar reactions and moon sign resonance. That does not mean Mualani and Chasca suddenly become weak. It means that if you are building for the future, you are incentivized to save for a pair of Nod-Krai units as the backbone of your teams. It is also very likely that Barca and Columbina, two names with enormous expectations attached, will completely power creep them while filling the same elemental role in a team. Here is the part one think both fanbases will appreciate. Even if you accept that the future will outshine the present, that does not erase the fun now. Mualani's nuke windows are legitimately entertaining. She rewards precise buff alignment, landing your burst at the top of your buff curve, and timing snapshots so her numbers carry through a rotation. Chasca wants survivability for long on-field stints and teammates who buff her. She shines in Set It and Flow squads. You tap a few skills, the engine purrs, and she rides the momentum. If you enjoy that kind of mechanical mastery, she absolutely delivers. So where does that leave the decision? It starts with honesty about pity and future plans. If your pity is close and you truly love one of them, I am not here to talk you out of joy. If you are far from pity and your Primogems are thin, the rational move is to skip and enter 6.0 with a cushion. Remember that Phase 2 free-to-play income is not a waterfall. Daily commissions, a theater reset, a couple of events, and codes will get you a few dozen wishes at best. Combine that with the poll result, 10% Chasca, 10% Mualani, 1% both, and a towering 79% skip, and you can see the community is already thinking like accountants. There is also the question of longevity. When I look at Mualani and Chasca through the lens of the next 3 or 4 patches, I see excellent performers who will be easier to bench than the new regional keys you will probably want for Moonsign Resonance. I also see a weapon landscape that steals the spotlight from them. The Sumeru Chronicled Wish is likely to sit beside the launch window with signatures like the sword that turns into a premium stat stick for many users, and the Claymore that props up otherwise awkward kits. If you're the sort of player who values weapons because they multiply the value of characters you already own, that banner might actually be the more rational place to spend than these Phase 2 character banners. Let me also address the quiet fear I keep hearing in comments. If I skip now, will I regret not having them later? The honest answer is that regret does not come from skipping strong units. It comes from skipping a playstyle you love. If you are a burst window enthusiast and Mualani's rhythm speaks to you, she will still feel great next patch, next year, and probably in the next spiral reset. If you adore long, smooth on-field strings, Chasca will still feel like butter when everything aligns. Meta rises and falls, but taste is stubborn. If you choose based on taste, you will not spend the next month side-eyeing your own account. Now for a quick reality check sprinkled with a little humor, so we do not cry into our resin. Most of us do not have the Primogem income of a small nation. Most of us are going to make exactly one big decision between now and the first Nod-Krai rerun cycle. If you are a collector, nothing I say will stop you, and honestly, I respect the hustle. I will wave at you from my free-to-play corner while you casually unlock constellations. If you are a planner, the safest line is to hold, wait for the region to open, and spend where the new mechanics pay you back immediately. And if you are in the chaotic middle, 1 foot on the skip button, 1 foot hovering over the wish button, flip a coin, but only after you set a hard ceiling for yourself. When heads or tails lands, listen to the tiny surge of relief or disappointment in your chest. That feeling is your real answer. That's it for today's breakdown. I'll drop the special program codes from the 6.0 live stream the second they go live, so make sure to be there. Whatever you end up pulling, make it yours. Games are meant to be fun. Thanks for watching. If this helped, leave a like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss the codes and the stream. We're super close to 12,000 subscribers. Your support gets us there. See you in the next one.